Ooh. Let's wait a couple of seconds. Hold on a minute. All right.
Hope y'all didn't think you were safe just...
Wait, let me try that again.
Hope y'all didn't think you were safe just because Halloween's over. This video was actually supposed to be posted on Halloween, but I don't even have an excuse. It just be like that. Not much of an intro this time, so here's 10 horrible ways animals can put your autobiography in the history section. Not necessarily in order, but it does get brutal, so I'm gonna do something I've never done before. Viewer discretion is very much advised. That's the only warning you're gonna get. When that music starts, it's up. Also, I kinda owe y'all more Halloween content, so if this gets a certain number of likes, I'll do a part 2. All that aside, let's get to the content. When you think of some of the apex predators on the planet, you might think of heavyweights like lions, bears, crocodiles, and of course you got the biggest bully in the ocean. Not the seal, but the killer whale dragging it. But what you probably don't think of is a prehistoric steroid gecko found on only remote islands in the world. And that's exactly what makes the Komodo dragon one of the most underrated killers on the planet. This homicide lizard can grow to 10 feet long, weigh nearly 200 pounds, and swim, and can run faster than your mental health is prepared for.
Hey, Nico. What's up, sweetie?
This video isn't sped up, but the most lethal thing about them is something you can't see. The Komodo dragon has up to 60 razor-sharp serrated kitchen knives for teeth tough enough to dissect the full-grown buffalo and tear flesh in chunks. But it's how they catch their prey that's unsettling. It was believed that a Komodo's septic bite was potent enough to cause its victim to retire to a bacterial infection. But it turns out this modern-day dinosaur uses a toxic venom that it injects into its prey. This venom reduces the body's blood clotting abilities and makes it more likely for you to bleed out once wounded. Other symptoms include lowering of blood pressure, shock, and muscle paralysis, and that last one's going to be real important later. The venom's so powerful that just one bite can be a death sentence for a tank like a water buffalo. Which means Komodos don't have to waste energy trying to chase down a meal. All they have to do is critically wound their prey and then wait for them to die. Reptiles that time left behind are only found on remote islands, and they have a borderline disrespectful sense of smell. There's almost no point on the island you can go where this lizard Liam Neeson won't eventually track you down. And the reason paralysis being a symptom is such a problem is because Komodos won't exactly wait for their prey to be past tense, just as long as they're too weak to fight back or run away. Cause these lizards will eat their prey alive, with the only relief coming when you eventually flatline the blood loss. And even though venom's the main suspect, you can still get clapped by a slow, painful bacterial infection. The first response of animals like buffalo after they've been wounded is to escape into nearby water. Going into unclean water with an open wound is how you lose your life to a horrific case of sepsis. And again, your life doesn't have to end for his meal to begin. Not only have Komodo dragons been known to attack humans, they've been recorded seeking out human graves, digging out the corpses, and then feeding on whatever human remains they find. Nothing on this island is safe from a Komodo, not even another Komodo, because Komodo hatchlings will spend most of their childhood up in the trees. Why? Adult Komodos are cannibals that'll devour any young dragons they run into, even if it ends up being their own children. We're talking about a 10-foot venomous steroid chameleon that'll track you down no matter where you go and will friendly fire its own kind. And it's only the first animal on this list. We talked about these winged bastards a couple of videos ago, so this is going to be a quick one. Now, plenty of birds eat other birds, but few are as sadistic about it as these overgrown ice vultures. Even though giant petrels are scavengers, they will target and jump weak or injured penguins, as well as snatch up any unaccompanied penguin chicks they can find. Just like a lot of animals you're going to see on this list, giant petrels will eat their struggling prey alive in groups, and they have a nasty habit of breaking in through the back door. I can't show you, but there are videos of these prison pigeons pulling out the intestines of a penguin through its anus, all while the penguin was alive and fighting for his life and the sanctity of his booty. He lost both. And it's not just penguins that get victimized. Giant petrels will attack other seabirds like the albatross and put them at
Hey, Dash Team 25, what's up, man?
a commission by forcing them underwater until they drown. But nobody gets it worse than penguins. The giant petrel is so vicious that once one snatches a chick, its parents usually won't even bother trying to save its life. Meaning Happy Feet could have ended with Mumble getting brutally shawshanked by a gang of flying booty bandits, all while his parents just sat and watched. And since a penguin's vital organs are protected by a layer of fat, penguins can take a lot of damage before permanently piecing out. Alternatively, penguins can suffer through hours of abuse before experiencing the sweet release of death. One researcher watched a gang of about 20 petrels tear apart a penguin that had already been mauled by a fur seal until there was nothing but a skeleton with feet attached. Don't think you're safe. The southern giant petrel has been nicknamed a stinker because they'll feed on any rotting, decaying carcass, to the point where these birds will tailgate boats and consume whatever foul, putrid nastiness the sailors dumped off. Petrels eat the same way they live, with no conscience. So if you're ever injured or incapacitated somewhere in the Antarctic, pray that help finds you before this bird does. You won't be a fan of how that movie ends. It'll end the same way if you're ever chased by a pack of African wild dogs. In a neighborhood with lions and hyenas, these dogs are actually the most efficient killers on the plains, with a hunting success rate of about 80%. These African bush cujos have a very complex and nuanced hunting strategy. They just keep running. These killer canines can run you down at speeds of nearly 40 miles per hour for a distance of over 3 miles, and in a sprint they can clock in at a blistering 45. All running away does is delay the inevitable. It's like hitting the snooze button on death. Once the prey gets chased into exhaustion, the dogs will clamp those jaws around the panicking prey's snout and flank and force it to the ground. And for the third time on this list, they don't wait for you to...
Oh, Nico, my baby. I can't believe this. I hope you get well soon, though, darling. I hope you get well soon. I'll be praying for you. I really will.
stop breathing and start eating.
As soon as I go to bed, I'll be fine, but I'm going to be praying just for you.
And the bigger and stronger you are, the more you suffer. Because they're able to put down animals like warthogs in as little as 2 to 5 minutes. But tankier animals like the wildebeest can spend the last 40 minutes of its life being gruesomely mauled by a pack of about 15 merciless murder hounds. And once the entire pack has you surrounded, there's virtually zero escape. And African wild dogs have the unsettling habit of starting meals off by tearing a hole in the abdomen and pulling the intestines out so they can get to the organs and fat first. To add insult to life-canceling injury, unlike lions, African wild dogs give puppies priority and let them eat first. So not only would you still get disemboweled, it would be the cutest members of the pack doing it first. Basically, imagine being chased by a gang of animals that never get tired, while knowing once they catch you, they'll confiscate your intestines and feed on your organs. All while you wait for the man upstairs to call your number. What could possibly be worse than that? Well,
Number 7.
Hyenas are everything African wild dogs are, but on juice. And even though hyenas are genetically closer to cats and mongooses, hyenas basically behave like dogs on steroids. Thanks to Lion King, people believe hyenas were just cowardly scavengers that only survived by scrounging a living off of other animals. The truth is, not only do hyenas personally murk 70 to 80% of their meals, they're actually more efficient at it than lions are. And it's all because hyenas and African wild dogs have one very unsettling thing in common. They're both serial killers on Duracell, meaning the bastards never get tired. Spotted hyenas can run at high speeds for over 5 miles without being tired. Which is why they don't have to ambush or one-shot their prey like lions, they'll just chase them into oblivion until one of them gives up. And hyenas don't give up. It doesn't help that hyenas have jaws strong enough to amputate a rhino. With a bite strength of about 1,000 pounds of force, hyenas are tough enough to eat virtually any part of an animal. They have such a habit of eating the bones of the deceased that their poop often comes out white. With a vice grip for a mouth and the eating habits of a coffin, if a clan of hyenas is your series finale, then the only thing your family will have left to bury are memories. Because once you're on this overgrown mongoose's meal prep, there won't be a lot of you left to put in a casket. And since there can be up to 80 members in a clan, and just one can take down 30 pounds of meat in one sitting, you would basically be a Ritz cracker to them. But if I'm being honest, the real reason hyenas are on this list is because of this video. And guys, y'all gonna feel this one. Hyenas have a devious habit of going for the family honeypot, but it is for a reason. Hyenas don't have the ability to instantly end their prey the way big cats do. So for larger animals like the buffalo, it's way easier to perform a hands-free vasectomy and just wait for blood loss to do the work for you. Imagine a mousetrap on your baby factory, but with the force of an adult moose stepping on it. Yeah.
Number 6.
This next animal is probably going to be the most unexpected on this list, but let me paint a picture. Take a wolverine, right? Put it on creatine, give it the personality of a power tool, and then dump it in the same area code as some of the most vicious carnivores in the jungle. This face of generational trauma belongs to the sloth bear. Yes, the one from Jungle Book. Sloth bears may not look like much, they're easily dwarfed by some of the more brolic bears, one of which may be on this list. They're not even super notorious predators, as insectivores of sloth bears' grocery list is mostly ants and termites. But don't let the sloth in this name fool you, these furry chainsaws know how to get active. Sloth bears share an environment.
I'm sorry to hear that, sweetie. Just to make sure that you're gonna be all right, I'm gonna pray for tonight before I go to bed.
With leopards and tigers have been known to actively hunt and eat them, which is why the sloth bear is one of the most aggressively homicidal bears out there. Even though they have a size disadvantage, a pissed off slothy has been known to drive off even the most motivated tiger. And sometimes these bears clutch a 2v1. And since sloth bears can't escape in trees like American black bears, it's like nature told this dark-skinned poo that violence was his only option. Year of character development means this demon yogi will view almost anything alive as a threat, and that includes humans.
When you order Domino's online, we'll give you
No one cares about pizza, man.
free
Get your pizza out of here, man. Nobody cares about that. And I am definitely going to watch this. Not yet. I'm going to like that. I'm going to reply to her later. These unskippable ads, I swear. They need to get murked.
Walmart Plus.
Walmart plus this. Walmart plus that. I don't care about no damn Walmart. Let me get back to my reaction. I got work to do. Stop ad.
Out there. Even though they have a size disadvantage, a pissed off Slothy has been known to drive off even the most motivated tiger. And sometimes these bears clutch a 2v1. And since sloth bears can't escape in trees from American black bears, it's like nature told his dark-skinned poo that violence was his only option. Years of character development means this demon yogi will view almost anything alive as a threat, and that includes humans.
Stop with the ads! Dang, get out of here with the ads.
Her attacks are incredibly brutal. The same claws they use to destroy concrete like termite mounts can disembowel you with one swipe. And unlike grizzlies, because sloth bears do have to worry about predators, they're much more likely to attack unprovoked. According to first-hand accounts, sloth bears will often maul their victims and then chew and suck on their limbs until they're reduced to a bloody, mushy pulp. Sloth bears also typically go for the face, incapacitating their victims while biting and slashing to the point where neither your mother or your iPhone can recognize you. And of course, an animal that motivated usually won't stop until you're not moving. Which is why even in tiger country, more people get sent to the emergency room by the Balus of the jungle. And if you're really unlucky, if one's able to sever a critical artery with those adamantium fingernails, the near series finale will involve you bleeding into the afterlife. One man was able to survive a particularly brutal maul.
That's gotta hurt. You gotta be careful when you're cutting potatoes, sweetie. They gotta be careful.
Falling at the hands or paws of this bear. He recalled feeling immense pressure as the bear tackled him, put its full weight on him, and crushed his leg in its jaws like a celery stick. When the bear was put out of commission, the man thought he got off easy. Until he looked at his leg and realized the bear had torn an entire chunk of his flesh to the point where he could see his muscles moving. And in rare cases, these bears have been known to stab at. One infamous bear known as the sloth bear of Mysore had a human body count of at least 12 people while having also severely mauled another dozen. So when I call this bear a box cutter with claws, I'm talking about both its personality and the way its victims tend to look after. But of course, it's not the only bear on this list.
Dang. That's insane. Number
Because when
5.
you're one of the few animals that'll actively hunt humans, you're guaranteed a spot. Thanks to global warming, most of the polar bear's hunting range is now underwater. A desperate polar bear will even attempt to go after walruses, even though walruses can one-shot them with those tusks. But a starving bear...
Oh my god. Sweetie, you have got to have the worst stinking luck possible. Yeah, you definitely need some angels to help with your injuries. Yeah, I'm definitely praying for you tonight. God dang. Damn.
will resort to putting humans on the list if they get the chance. A polar bear is like a maxed out bloodhound. They can smell a seal from a mile away, and they can even track its scent through 3 feet of ice. Which is why it's been said, if you see this Caucasian carnivore in the wild, it's already too late. There's a good chance the bear's been hunting you for hours or even
Hey, Goku-san. What's up, man?
longer. This is Tim Jarvis, and during an expedition in the Arctic, he was allegedly stalked by a polar bear for a total of 10 days. Now add the fact that they can outswim every heat at the Olympics, and sprint fast enough to get a ticket in the school zone, and you'll see why getting on this ice killer's radar is a death sentence. Remember how African wild dogs tear into their prey while still alive? Bears are just triple XL dogs that usually clamp their jaws on the prey's back to disable it. And the back is usually where they start eating from, with the intestines being one of the first things to get pulled out. Also, polar bears are estimated to have a bite force of about 1,200 pounds per square inch, believed to be strong enough to crack a bowling ball. And if one paw swipes your back, at best you'll be a paraplegic, at worst you'll be a hashtag. And at least sloth bears attack out of self-defense. When a polar bear puts someone on the news, you can be sure it was 100% premeditated. And the worst part of it all is that normally
Yeah, I will after this is over.
polar bears wouldn't see humans as happy meals. They prefer the fat, nutrient-rich seal. But because of what we've done to their hood, now a polar bear doesn't even need to see you or hear you. If you're a mile downwind of a starving polar bear, that could really be all it takes. Remember the rule of thumb. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, best get on the ground. If it's white like the president, you finna be heaven sent.
Not unless you shoot it first.
The African wilderness has some of the most vicious and violent predators on the planet. Some of them we've actually already talked about. So it says a lot that out of all of them, the one nicknamed Black Death is actually a vegetarian. The African Cape buffalo race is about 200
Only Walter White. If not Walter White, I have no clue.
From the census each year. That's not counting the people that live but still get severely gored. They're also strong enough to ragdoll top tiers like lions, hyenas, and of course, people. Those horns aren't just for intimidation. When a cave buffalo charges, the hooked end of its horns can get caught under the skin and tear apart the flesh of a predator or a tourist that just doesn't know any better.
Damn.
Of course, at 1,300 pounds, they don't need horns to end you. They can easily put you into a chalk outline. But there's another thing about walking obituary, but earn them another nickname. The Widow.
God.
At 1,300 pounds, they don't need horns to end you. They can easily just trample you into a chalk outline. But there's another thing that makes them not only a walking obituary, but earn them another nickname. The Widowmaker. Because one of the fastest ways to get a divorce is to tell your husband to go hunt a cave buffalo, because then you'll probably go to bed single. And that's because this Widowmaker is one of the most vengeful animals on Earth. A wounded cave buffalo will often retreat and hide in tall grass or brush. Now, if the hunter has more than one brain cell, he'll usually just give up and leave the beast alone. But if you make the mistake of following the injured animal, then you run the risk of getting ambushed and knocked clear into the ground. And after hitting you, the cave buffalo will just back up and wait for you to get back on your feet just so they can stick you again. They'll keep doing this until you just stop getting up. That's just what one can do to you. These guys can travel in hoods of up to 200.
What?
These herds will often circle a possible threat, leaving no possibility for escape.
Damn.
And they'll just keep circling until one eventually sees an opening and attempts to impale you.
Well, that's what Mufasa gets for being in the box office when we didn't ask for Mufasa. We asked for Sonic 3.
Same rules apply. If you're still...
Yes, babe. What is it? What is it, babe? I'm paying attention. What is it now?
Moving, they're not finished. That kind of attitude is why lions cosplay as house cats when a herd of buffaloes.
Caterpillar. Oh, baby, baby, baby.
Involved. And why hunting one should come with a life insurance package. And out of the entire starting lineup known as the African Big Five, these murder cows are considered to be the biggest threat. But ironically, one of the most feared mammals on the entire continent isn't on this list.
Number 3.
Yeah, no suspense here. Hippos are just waterproof horses with a sender's address from hell. Hippos put about 500 names in Twitter bios a year, and that number is probably higher. They're famous for choosing violence with anything in their territory, from antelope and crocodile, all the way to lions, humans, and literally everything else. Like if you have a pulse, they'll find a reason to hate you. In fact, the biggest threat to a hippo's way of life is very literally often another hippo. Because oftentimes when resources are low, bull hippos will see babies as competition and will turn the adorable infants into fish food. Here's a dark joke for you. Where did the baby hippo go after the baby shower? Everywhere. He went everywhere. Despite being the third heaviest thing on the planet with legs, hippos can run at speeds of 30 miles per hour. And they can outswim you, or technically out.
Alright, take your time, babe. Go ahead and eat your dinner.
Run because hippos...
I got 5 more minutes. I'm going to react to your video. Do, show what I have upcoming for live streams, and then I'm going to be dipping out. I got some much on the rise hunting to do.
Hippos don't swim, they literally run underwater, and I don't think that makes this video any better. But just like actress Tiana Trump, it's that mouth that makes him infamous. Bull hippos have tusks that can max out at 20 inches long, and it can slam their jaws at nearly 2,000 pounds of force. But if you've ever seen one eat a watermelon, you already knew that. Which is why the biggest mistake a croc can make is pull up to a hippo pool party, because it can end up getting turned into a purse. And the biggest mistake a person can make is getting too close. I hope this is photoshopped. Hippos are one of those animals that don't need a reason to turn you into a statistic. Hippos don't typically eat meat, but their attack style involves using that massive overbite and chewing a person into human applesauce. And it's the attacks in water that are the most brutal. Even if you survive, the toll for crossing hippo territory can cost an arm, a leg, multiple broken bones, and even a punctured lung or two. One tourist guide in Zimbabwe was allegedly swallowed by this land whale not once, but 3 times. And you want to know the worst thing about getting deep-throated by this obese demon donkey? Other than the smell. It's knowing that your options are to either stay inside and suffocate, or try to escape and end up negotiating your left arm in the process. As for the tourist guide, by the time he got out, he had suffered 38 bite wounds, including one so nasty it exposed his lungs and completely crushed one of his arms. This man rescued an orphan baby hippo from a flood and raised him as his own. He even named it Humphrey and said it was like a son to him. Well, Humphrey ended up mauling and mutilating his foster father in the same river he was rescued from. That's honestly how most movies with hippos end. But at least hippos are so massive they're impossible to miss. The next animal is the size of a golf ball, but could turn 26 people into a very loaded story on CNN. The blue ring octopus is a lot of things. Tiny, cute, and it's one of the most venomous things alive. It's armed with a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, and the lethal dose for a human could fit on the head of a pin. Plenty of animals are venomous in Australia, from the jellyfish right down to the peris. But there's one disturbing fact about blue ring octopus. The blue ring octopus is so small that most people don't even realize when they've been bitten. And because they're so small and cute, some people will put the octopus in their hands, not realizing they're putting their lives in the octopus's. Because not only is tetrodotoxin 10,000 times more powerful than cyanide, the neurotoxin shuts down muscles by blocking sodium channels. This decision can lead to muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and then a permanent rest. Which is why one of the smallest animals on this list can turn you into past tense in as little as 30 minutes. And remember, you don't feel when this blue ring Bundy bites you. Meaning you can hold it like this for 3 seconds and then flatline in the same hour. And if you're swimming while that paralysis hits, use your imagination. Oh, and there's no antidote. All medical professionals can do is hook you up to a respirator and manage your breathing just long enough to keep you alive. But with immediate medical attention, the chances of getting put in a casket by this blue ring hellspawn are actually pretty low. But with a bite that's impossible to feel, it's very possible to not realize you've been wounded. And without medical attention, the chance of your soul getting evicted suddenly becomes a lot higher. Which means this lady just barely Eurostep becoming a name on a stone in one of the worst ways possible. Cause anything that tries this hard to be seen is probably more toxic than Future. That goes for octopus and people.
Number 1.
This last one deserves its own viewer discretion warning because in some ways it's the most disturbing animal on this list. Not only does it have the highest human body count, you can be a victim and not even realize it. That's because it's believed that over 1 billion people in the world are infected with parasitic worms. They're especially a problem in places with limited access to clean drinking water. But don't think this is just some third world problem. All you have to do is swim in waters containing eggs and you can lose the lottery and become a landlord to these parasites. Once inside you, these worms can cause a bunch of nasty infections and complications, but there's one disease that really stands out. These demonic flesh ropes are filarial worms, and they're as thin as sewing threads. And their favorite hangout spot is in your lymph nodes, where a bunch of them can block fluids from leaving the body, which can cause tissues in the body to swell almost like a disturbing cartoon. Which is how a worm you need a microscope to see can cause a nightmarish condition known as elephantiasis, the situation where your leg can swell to the same size and color as an elephant's. And it doesn't just give you Dumbo-sized cankles. All guidelines will allow me to say is Google South Park wheelbarrow. Get infected with filarials and you might need one. But the unsettling part is you may never know you've been violated by filarials until it's too late. Millions of people around the world are infected and a lot of them have no idea. Which means, of course, statistically, someone watching this video has to have it. If it makes you feel any better, if you live in America, you apparently can't get infected with filarial worms. But you're not safe from the hundreds of other parasites that could turn your insides into an Airbnb. Around the world, hundreds of millions of people are infected with parasitic worms as we speak. And if you happen to be asymptomatic, they can put a whole mortgage down on your body and you would be the last to know. And that's just about it for this video. If you actually enjoyed this video, first of all, you're a psychopath. But also my Patreon's going to be in the description in case you want to support this very questionable content.
Yeah, it is a little questionable, buddy, but it is still fascinating to know what I can avoid getting murked by. Well, that definitely helps. Let's do one more. Let's see. Where is it? There, it's gotta be somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. Found it.
Yep, because obviously one part just wasn't enough. I'm going to make this real quick because I want to get right to the trauma. Earlier we talked about 10 of the worst ways animals can put a 404 on your birth certificate. That video is going to be in the description in case you want to get caught up. But there were some pretty notable animals missing from the video.
Alright, sounds good, Nico.
And half of that was on purpose so I have enough ammo for a part 2. The other half was honestly just me forgetting. So here's 5 more terrifying ways nature can put you under a headstone, and once again, viewer discretion is very much advised. And it's especially advised for one of the animals on here. You'll know when you see it. All that out the way, let's get to the content.
Number 5.
It's no secret that having an Australian area code really means agreeing to live life on veteran difficulty. And it's not just that everything with a heartbeat down there has the power to cancel yours. It's the way they can do it. Get too close to a cassowary and you run the risk of getting violently disemboweled. Play with a platypus and you might just find out that Perry's armed with an incapacitating venom more powerful than morphine. The blue ring octopus was actually one of the animals in a previous video because not only is it one of the most venomous things in the ocean, it's also small enough for you not to feel its toxic bite. Which is why out of all the nonsense in the land down under, this tiny octopus is what you should be the second most afraid of. The reason it's second is because this thing still exists. The Australian box jellyfish is the most venomous thing in the ocean, which obviously makes it one of the most venomous things in nature. They're armed with a crippling toxin potent enough to turn you into a statistic in as little as 2 minutes. And that's because its venom is a neurotoxin that attacks ion channels in muscles, causing them to contract but not release. When those muscles happen to be in the heart, that causes victims to go into cardiac arrest. There have been cautionary tales of people being stung by box jellies while swimming and not even having enough time to make it to shore. The reason the box jellyfish is so disrespectful with its venom is because it's specifically designed to incapacitate its struggling prey before they have a chance to snap its tentacles. I call them the biggest middle finger to Australia because they're the polar opposite of blue rings. The blue ring's deadly bite may be painless, but those rings it's named after are designed to warn you before you even have a chance to get that close. Which means the only way this octopus can be a threat is if you're crazy enough or dumb enough to hold one. Box jellyfish give zero warning. They're virtually impossible to notice until you feel the immobilizing agony that comes with the sting. If you accidentally brush up against those tentacles, thousands of sting cells blast microscopic harpoons into your skin, which is how the venom gets to you. Victims have said getting stung feels a lot like getting branded with a hot iron, which makes sense, because that's exactly what those scars look like.
Damn!
Even if you survive, it can still give you the world's most painful tattoo, and if you're really unlucky, a nasty case of necrosis. And if that wasn't horrific enough, one species managed to take it a step further.
There's 6 down.
I don't care about Dunkin' Donuts, man. Stop showing me something I don't care about. Come on, bruh. Release a new video? Alright, Nerf.
Experience the...
Oh my god.
The Irukandji jellyfish is roughly the size of a penny, yet it's somehow the most intimidating animal Australia has to offer. Its venom has been said to be 100 times worse than a cobra's and 1,000 times more toxic than a tarantula.
Alright, that's fine, Nerf.
And because its venom is also a neurotoxin, symptoms can include crippling pain, vomiting, severe muscle cramps, escalating all the way to brain hemorrhaging, heart failure, and eventually a flatline. This tiny
Alright, sounds good.
jellyfish can essentially destroy you from the inside. Its skin can also put you in a comatose state almost indistinguishable from death. It basically turns you into the living dead. I'm not saying this homicidal sperm cell can cause a zombie apocalypse, but I am saying you do want to be ready. Which is why State of Survival lets you see how you do in a full-scale I Am Legend type zombie apocalypse. It's free to play and available on both Apple and Google App Stores. And for a limited time, anyone that's able to upgrade to a level 6 unlocks the Joker feature. Yeah, the Joker. This feature lets you fight against this army of laughing zombies
Go ahead and get your money, bro, but I do not care.
the arena of cards, which to me isn't a bad deal. But what is a bad deal is if you manage to come into contact with this jellyfish. Because one of the symptoms of Irukandji syndrome is an overwhelming feeling of doom. Some victims will reportedly be so sure they were going to die that they would beg the doctors to put them out of their misery permanently. And that's because the venom can cause a release of catecholamine, one of the things responsible for your flight or fight response, which makes this jellyfish one of the few animals that can bend you over psychologically as well as physically. Basically, it puts the fear of God in you to the point where you want to go meet him. That being said, with immediate medical attention, your chances of getting put on the news by a box jelly are surprisingly low. Doesn't change the fact that estimated 50 to 100 people lose the lottery to this hellspawn each year. And because of the nature of the symptoms, that number could very well be higher and the deaths either go unreported or get falsely attributed to something else. The worst part is you will almost never see it coming, unlike the next animal.
Look at that jaguar's face. Hey guys, look at this. Oh, yo, I'm friendly, and I sound like Goofy. Oh, yo.
A few comments from the previous video questioned why I left big cats off the list, and honestly the answer
Cheese, take the stupid picture already. I'm done smiling. That lion.
is pretty simple. Cats are nature's perfect little killing machines, but because they're not pack hunters like hyenas or wild dogs, they have to put their prey out of commission before they eat it. This minimizes the risk of injury and allows them to carry their prize to a much more secluded spot, which means most big cats will mercy murk their prey with a quick but critical bite to the windpipe. But of course, there has to be an exception to every rule. Roll the clip. Jaguars are the only big cats that put their prey out of commission with a crushing bite directly through the skull. Jaguars are basically the bull sharks of cats. They're not the biggest or the most notorious, but pound for pound they're the strongest with the most devastating bite. A jaguar's max bite force has been estimated to be in a range from 13 to 1,500 pounds per square inch. That mouthpiece is not only strong enough to evict a turtle from its shell, but it produces enough force to puncture the skull and even pierce the brain. This method is enough to one-shot virtually anything in its area code from cat.
Nico, you need to have the window closed, and you need to go be somewhere where they can't find you. And you also need to make sure the door is locked.
Capybara to Cayman, and they've even been known to
Reason? So they don't get inside.
rip the cranial cat off of animals as tanky as the tapir, which can weigh over 800 pounds. Jaguars are ambush hunters that catch bodies by disabling their prey before they even have a chance to react, which is why a full-grown caiman with a brain the size of a walnut has virtually no shot against a motivated vice grip with whiskers. And since jaguars primarily puncture the temporal bones of the skull, they essentially punch holes in your head by biting between the ears. And because jaguars are as comfortable catching life sentences in water as they are on land, they're South America's all-terrain assault weapons. If a jaguar wants your name off the census, you're not even a person, you're a walking corpse at that point. But spoiler alert, jaguars don't even have the worst bite on this list.
Number 3.
This snake is naturally shy, non-aggressive, and would much rather slither away from confrontation. It's when it feels cornered that the bum sling shows you why it's one of the most venomous snakes to ever live. This sub-Saharan serpent is armed with hemotoxin-riddled venom, which contains anticoagulants.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that, I'm just trying to keep you safe. That's all, sweetie.
That limits the body's ability to form blood clots, which is how this introvert of a snake can cause fatal hemorrhaging in tissues in muscles and the brain, causing you to bleed into an obituary. If left untreated, the bite from a bum sling can cause you to bleed from virtually every orifice, including the eyes, nose, gums, and even the anus. Internal and external bleeding aside, there's two main reasons why this snake is a cell block D level menace. Number one is the lethal dose of the venom itself. It's been said that the amount of bum sling venom needed to introduce you to your ancestors is one of the lowest of any snake. Number two is because of the very nature of snakes. Venom is physiologically expensive to make, so snakes will often deliver dry bites when they don't want to inject venom. It's how they get their point across without wasting precious venom on a non-life-threatening situation. You're probably wondering how not releasing venom is a bad thing, and here's where nature shows you how much of a female dog she really is. Bum sling venom is slow-acting, and it can take the victim several hours to feel the effects. This can cause victims to falsely assume the bite was dry and to not seek medical attention as urgently as they should. By the time you're bleeding out of your ass and eyes, you're already on the wait list to the cookout in the clouds. And without anti-venom, a complete blood transfusion could be the only thing keeping you from a box in the ground. In 1957, herpetologist Carl Smith was bitten by a young juvenile bum sling, but he didn't immediately seek medical attention because he assumed the baby snake couldn't produce the lethal dose. You could probably guess how that movie ended. Instead of getting to a hospital, Dr. Schmidt recorded all of his symptoms after being envenomated. All of them, except for the last one. That day, Dr. Schmidt became past tense, likely at the hands of internal excessive bleeding, all because of one mistake. Had he been rushed to a hospital and received anti-venom, he might have lived long enough to learn his lesson. Lucky for us, the bum sling is timid and afraid of people, and for all its toxicity, it has a surprisingly low body count, believed to be only responsible for less than 10 deaths. Unlike the next animal, which has a body count not in the hundreds, not thousands, but likely in the millions.
Once in a life.
Number 2.
If I made a poll asking what the most dangerous animals in Africa are, some answers might include hyenas, the always homicidal hippopotamus, of course you can't forget the lion, and heavyweights like the African elephant, rhinoceros, and Cape buffalo might also make an appearance. And if you're an intellectual, you might say the mosquito since they co-author more death certificates than any other animal. But we know how much of a menace mosquitoes are. Most people don't think the same of this fly, and that's exactly why they're here. The tsetse fly is one of the most murderous things alive, believed to have a human hit rate of, at the minimum, 10,000 bodies a year. It's a parasite that feeds on the blood of others, and like the mosquito, that makes it the perfect vector for a handful of nasty diseases. The nightmare starts when an infected tsetse fly passes on the parasite trypanosoma to an unknowing human. Once that parasite turns your body into an Airbnb, it shuts you down from the inside. Being the landlord to this parasite can mean heart problems, kidney failure, anemia, and if you're pregnant, you might just get a visit from that young lady, Miss Carey.
And this is exactly why. Good. I'm glad they left. Good. But as I was saying, this is exactly why I murk and kill every single fly that's at least a housefly down here in Texas every chance I get. I don't want none of this. I don't want no flies.
But the most disturbing part is that it's now the second animal on this list that can do damage to your mental. This disease deteriorates your body to the point where just opening your eyes or feeding yourself can leave you exhausted. It doesn't help that one of the neurological symptoms is that it completely wrecks your sleeping schedule, causing
Thank God I am not living in Africa. I feel extremely sorry and unfortunate for those that live in Africa and have to deal with those flies. I hope you have a good way of murking those flies because you're going to need it to survive.
insomnia at night and borderline narcolepsy during the day. That fun little fact is exactly how this disease got its name, African sleeping sickness. And that's not the only symptom either. Victims can experience drastic shifts in personality, usually resulting in uncontrollable episodes of aggression. This fly fact.
Yeah, I'm angry all the time, but I have better control now. I have better control over it. But yeah, I would not want to get bitten by that stupid fly and get stressed.
Resets your personality, and the infected can become such a danger to themselves and others that there have been instances of victims being tied to poles where they can't hurt anybody. It's a debilitating disease, and one that slowly breaks you down until you eventually slip into a coma and never wake up. The only good thing is that statistically, the chances of becoming a hashtag after being bit are incredibly low, since a TT fly has to already be infected. But my mother would have raised a lie if I said that about the bite of the last animal on this list.
Number 1.
There might not be a worse death sentence in nature than the one hiding in this picture. And that's because crocodiles have spent the last 200 million years perfecting the art of canceling life subscriptions. With the highest recorded bite force of 3,700 pounds per square inch, getting assaulted by a croc is like getting hit with a sledgehammer with teeth with enough power to tear flesh and crack bone. Not even the murderous hippo can match that force. The crocodile's hunting strategy involves sneaking up to its victim.
What do you mean by that, sweetheart? What do you mean by that? Did I come back stronger for you, or what do you mean by that?
Them underwater while completely undetected, which they can do because nature put their eyes on the top of its head, giving them a disrespectful stealth factor. Those are all eyes, and they're all looking at you. Once they're close enough, they slam about 60 razor-sharp cones for teeth into their prey and then drag them into the water where they have a home court advantage, especially since a crocodile can hold its breath for over an hour. And as if death by reverse baptism wasn't enough, crocodiles have possibly the most unforgiving finishing move of any animal. The crocodile's death roll is designed to rip their struggling prey apart into easier to swallow chunks of flesh. I'm not going to let you see what just happened to that zebra, just know its neck is now non-existent. And with jaws like a snare trap, surviving the fate with a prehistoric homicide gecko usually involves negotiating an arm or a leg. The crocodile's hunting method is so successful that they've been around for hundreds of millions of years and barely had to change their playbook. But the most haunting thing about them is that they believe in the worst type of equality. Jaguars don't see humans as prey, and they're just as likely to run away from an encounter. For all its venom, the bumsling's first choice is always pacifism. For a crocodile, anything that makes enough of a disturbance in its waters can get put on a list. And out of all crocodilians, it's the Nile and saltwater crocodiles that have been known to attack humans with enough regularity to be classified as man-eaters. And because splashing only excites them, a good number of victims are small children that unintentionally play in its dining room. Crocodiles pack up about 1,000 people a year, and as we continue to encroach on their space, that number is only going to get higher. And that's going to do it for this video. Honestly, if this video doesn't get demonetized, I'd be more shocked than Pikachu, so my Patreon's going to be in the description.
Alright, that's the end of that. Now, before I end this, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, like I always do, because that's just how my girlfriend wants it. Let me go ahead and react to what she wanted me to do first. Let me go ahead and get this done first. Yeah, she thinks so. She's gonna go boom in a minute. She's gonna go boom in a minute. That's what Alex thinks. She's gonna go boom. Waiting for it. Yep. 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 I can handle 3 minutes. It's no big deal. Yep, she lost her mind. Poor Alex. Poor Alex lost her mind. I never liked Minecraft, bro. Yep, facts. Pow, 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 pow. Whoa! Oh, she's lost her mind. Oh, she's blowing stuff up. I don't like Minecraft either. It's alright, but I don't like it either. It stresses me out to a good amount. Way too relatable. Way too relatable. And she just rage quit, left the game. Oh. Why is that is so relatable? Facts. Facts. So relatable. That is exactly how I feel after fighting Sonic Superstar's final boss and not winning. And that's exactly how I feel with Fall Guys. That alone literally spoke every single relatable truth about Fall Guys and Sonic Superstars for me. Got murked extremely quick. I'm tired. Burn, skeletons! Murk those skeletons. This bliss. Oh! Switched to survival and lost her armor. Damn. Damn. That has got to be the worst thing ever. Damn. Oh my god. What? Got murked. 100% got murked. Damn. That is insanity. Oh, goodness me. Alright, so for video-wise, tomorrow, this is coming out. No, wait. Today's the 13th, so 14th. It was funny, yeah. Alright, so for 14th, this is coming out tomorrow. And then on the 15th, this is coming out. So, and then for live streams, I got Pokemon I gotta do in the morning because I need to get this done. I gotta do Marvel at 3. I gotta give that a thumbnail. We gotta do Goku playing Fortnite. And then for the 15th, this is coming out at 3 because I was too tired to do it today. No excuses. Literally, I was really tired. I did not want to do it. I don't have anything else to do, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I extended a good amount. I think I'm going to do the Nightcore version. Yeah, I like waffles and I like pancakes. Ooh, I like her. Go ahead and add that to the list. add this anime chick. There we go. I'm gonna do this Nightcore version because this is my anime girl right here. Wait for it. Yep, this is the anime girl. This is my #1 anime girl that I love the most in any type of anime. Alright, if you guys have enjoyed this, make sure you do me a huge favor. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, click the bell, all that stuff. And Nico, yes, I love French toast. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great, wonderful rest of your night. Love you all. Take care and peace. Oh, and actually, before I go, I got an anime girl that is actually helping me. I got another anime girlfriend that is helping me with my job. So, honey, please tell him.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Thanks, darling. And with all that being said, peace.